going to read you something. It says, the title of it is Church is Hard. I don't know the author. I tried to find it, but I thought it fit well here. It says, church is hard when a person walking through the door is afraid of judgment. Church is hard for the preacher's family under the microscope of the entire body. Church is hard for the prodigal soul returning home broken, battered by the world. Church is hard for the girl who looks like she has it all together but doesn't. Church is hard for the couple who fought the entire ride to service. Amen. Church, everybody went like, not us. Church is hard for the single mom, surrounded by couples holding hands and seemingly perfect families. Church is hard for the widow or the widower with no invitation to lunch after service. Church is hard for the church leader with an estranged child. Church is hard for the person singing worship songs overwhelmed by the weight of the lyrics. Church is hard for the man insecure in his role as a leader. Church is hard for the wife who longs to be led by a righteous man. Church is hard for the nursery volunteer who desperately longs to hold and love a baby of her own. Church is hard for the single woman and the single man praying that God would bring them a godly person. Church is hard for the teenage girl wearing the scarlet letter, ashamed of her mistakes. Church is hard for sinners. Church is hard for me. But it's hard because on the outside, it all looks shiny and perfect. Sunday's best in behavior and dress. However, underneath those layers, you find a body of imperfect people, carnal souls, and selfish motives. But here's the beauty of a generous church. Church isn't a building, mentality, or expectation. Church is a body. Church is a group of sinners saved by grace, living in the fellowship of saints. Church is a body of believers bound as brothers and sisters by eternal love. Church is a holy ground where sinners stand as equals before the throne of grace. Church is a refuge for broken hearts and training ground for mighty warriors. Church is a converging of confrontation and invitation, where sin is confronted and hearts are invited to seek restoration. Church is a lesson in faith and trust. Church is a family coming together, setting aside differences, forgetting past mistakes, rejoicing in the smallest of victories. Church, the body, and the circle of sinners turned saints is where He resides. And if He asks, and if you ask, He is faithful to come. So even on the hard days at church, the days when I am at odds with a friend, when I've walked in bearing burdens heavier than my heart can handle, yet masking the pain with a smile on my face, when I've worn the pressures of this world under the microscope, when I've longed for a baby to hold or fought back tears as the lyrics were sung, when I've walked back in afraid and broken after walking away, I remember God has never failed to meet me there in the body.